Hallis Hall has been way too quiet for the kind of team Chicago is turning into, and when the noise doesn't match the ambition, that's usually when something big is brewing behind closed doors, especially at a position where one bold move could flip this defense from promising to legit nightmare for every quarterback on the schedule. This is Bears News Fan Report. I'm here with you like always, speaking directly to you. And today I'm taking you inside one name that keeps surfacing in real conversations, scouting rooms, and trade pieces. Seattle Seahawks cornerback Riq Woolen, the long, explosive, ball-hawking defensive back who looks like he was built in a lab for exactly the kind of identity this Bears regime says it wants. In this video, I'm going to walk through why his profile has become attached to Chicago in league circles, how his skill set would fit next to our current core, what the numbers and contract tell us, what I'm hearing and what I'm not hearing about any actual movement, and what a realistic price tag would look like if the Bears ever decide to turn interest into a real push. I'm not here to throw a fake Bears sign Woolen headline in your face. I'm here to break down whether this is one of those rumors that dies in a tweet or one of the few that actually makes sense when you line up tape, age, scheme, and timeline. Let's start with who we are now, because that matters more than any name. The Bears have worked themselves into a position we haven't felt in a long time. A young franchise quarterback to build around, a front office that has hit on real defensive talent, and a defense that, when it's rolling, looks fast, physical, and opportunistic. The pass rush has finally started to match the standard, the middle of the field is tightening, and the culture on that side of the ball has shifted from bend and pray to hit first and take the ball away. But we all know where the stress still lives. Depth and matchups on the back end. Jalen Johnson's a true CB1 when he's right. Kyler Gordon has carved out a role inside. There is young talent and rotational help. Even so, when you start stacking injuries, when teams spread you out, when you face big-bodied receivers and vertical schemes, there's still that feeling that one more high-end outside corner could change the way offensive coordinators call games against Chicago. That's where Riq Woolen's name stops being clickbait and starts being a strategic talking point. We're talking about a 6'4" corner with elite long speed, rare length, legit ball skills, and a resume that already includes Pro Bowl recognition and double-digit interceptions early in his career. He's the type of corner who can line up and press, squeeze verticals, bait throws underneath, use that stride to recover when most DBs are toast, and turn tip ball chaos into turnovers. Put that prototype across from Jalen, and suddenly every outside throwing lane against the Bears gets tighter. Put that prototype behind an improving pass rush, and suddenly quarterbacks are climbing the pocket into pressure instead of firing with rhythm to the sideline. When analysts and insiders put together lists of realistic, high-impact trade or retool targets for teams like Chicago, Woolen shows up for a reason. His skill set is rare, his contract has been team-friendly, and there have been visible moments in Seattle where the fit under the new staff hasn't always looked as clean as year one, which naturally invites speculation about whether a forward-thinking team would call to see if there's a price. Now, here's where I stay honest with you. Everything serious I've heard and read points to Seattle not running a must-sell on Woolen right now. They know what he is at his best, they know how hard it is to replace that combination of length and production, and reports around the league still frame them as more likely to keep him than to toss him into a clearance bin. That matters. This is not a situation where the player is forcing his way out or the team is openly shopping him. This is a situation where certain front offices, including Chicago's, would be negligent if they didn't at least explore the idea, given where they are in their own timeline. So let's talk about that timeline, because that's the heart of it. The Bears are no longer rebuilding for 3 years from now. They're building to compete seriously while their young offensive core is ascending and their top defensive pieces are either in or entering their prime. When you're in that phase, you stop asking, is this guy available? And start asking, if he ever becomes available, are we ready with the right kind of offer? For someone like Woolen, that means thinking in terms of a package that respects his ceiling. You're looking at premium draft capital, maybe a day 2 pick plus additional value, and then a decision down the line on a serious second contract if he hits in your system. You don't make that move just because you like the name. You make it if the tape, medicals, and interviews all tell you he can be a cornerstone outside corner in your scheme for the next 4 to 5 seasons. Fit-wise, it lines up almost too well. In a Bears structure that wants length at corner, wants guys who can disrupt at the line, carry verticals, drive on throws with vision, and capitalize when the front forces off platform passes, Woolen checks every box. His presence would free you to be more aggressive with coverage, spin safety help where you want it instead of where you're scared, and let Johnson play with more flexibility. It also closes a future gap. Instead of waiting every offseason to see if you can find another outside guy in free agency or hope a mid-round rookie hits, you'd lock in an elite traits player and bet on your coaching to stabilize his inconsistencies. That's why this rumor sticks around longer than a TikTok post, because football-wise, if the price were right, it's coherent. But now we get to the part you really care about. Is Riq Woolen actually going to the Bears? Here's the straight, grown-up answer from me to you. As of right now, there is no confirmed agreement, no secret deal signed, no reliable report saying he's packing his bags for Chicago tomorrow. What exists is a convergence of logic and opportunity. You have a Bears team with picks, cap flexibility, and a clear need profile that matches what Woolen brings. You have a Seattle situation where his name has appeared in trade candidate discussions, even if insiders emphasize they're more likely to keep him. You have a league where long, productive corners are extremely expensive to acquire, and very few fit both the age and impact window like he does. In that environment, it is absolutely realistic that the Bears front office has done their homework, run the numbers, studied the film, talked through what a package would look like, and kept his name in that if they ever blink, we're ready folder. That's not fantasy. That's how serious front offices move. The suspense here and the reason this conversation matters is that we're not talking about a random rumor that contradicts where the Bears are headed. We're talking about a move that, if the door ever cracks open, aligns almost perfectly with an aggressive, win-forward strategy. From my perspective, looking at everything this regime has done, I see a pattern. They've been patient, but not passive. They've paid their own, they've added blue-chip defensive talent, and they've been selective instead of reckless with splash moves. A Woolen-type swing would be the next level. High cost, high reward, and a direct statement that they're building a defense that can travel in January. The risk? You're committing resources to a corner who still has ups and downs on tape, who you'd eventually have to pay big if he hits in your system, and you're trusting your staff to get him back to that Allo-Pro trajectory. The reward? You roll out Jalen Johnson on one side, Riq Woolen on the other, Kyler Gordon inside, a physical safety group behind them, and a real pass rush in front. That's the kind of unit that doesn't just survive good offenses, it hunts them. That's not a small thing. Before I close this out, I want you in this conversation with me because Bears fans aren't just watching this team anymore, you're shaping the expectations around it. So tell me in the comments honestly, if the Seahawks pick up the phone and the price is real, let's say a meaningful draft pick package but nothing completely insane, are you in on bringing Riq Woolen to Chicago as a long-term outside corner across from Jalen Johnson, or would you rather keep those assets and trust the current young DB room to grow into that role? Do you see this as the kind of move that accelerates a playoff defense, or as a luxury swing you only make 1 year later when everything else is even more stable? I'm going to read you, one by one, because this is the kind of debate that tells us where this fan base is at. Scared to move, or ready for the big time? My concise professional read right now. Riq Woolen to the Bears is not a done deal, not a locked-in development, but it is one of the rare rumor scenarios that actually passes the smell test when you match need, scheme, age, cost, and organizational trajectory. If it ever happens, it would be because both teams see value, Seattle deciding to cash out on a premium asset, and Chicago deciding it's time to pay for a true outside weapon on defense. Until then, it stays what it is today, a serious name to monitor, not a fake headline. And that's exactly why you stay plugged in here. If you want every real possibility like this broken down with honesty and detail, without click chasing and without underestimating your intelligence as a fan, make sure you're subscribed to Bears News Fan Report, hit the like button, turn on your notifications, and share this video with that Bears friend who's already drawing Woolen in navy and orange.